Fox News alert: President Trump escalating his attacks on Robert Mueller's Russia investigation, calling his team a national disgrace and accusing them of trying to impact the midterms. And he tweeted this yesterday: "Study the late Joseph McCarthy, because we are now in a period with Mueller and his gang that make Joseph McCarthy look like a baby. Rigged witch hunt." Our power panel is here. Marianne Marsh, former senior advisor to John Kerry. Nan Hayworth is a former Republican congresswoman and a member of the board of directors for the Independent Women's Forum. Great to have you both. Let's start with the ratcheting up of rhetoric, Nan, and where you think we are with the president comparing it to that.
Well, you know, the president has reason to feel as though this is a prosecution that seems never to end. And
would you compare it to hunting communists in the federal government?
You know, maybe a modern day term that we could use is John Brennanism. Because the kinds of attacks that have been coming at the president from those who are convinced with no evidence whatsoever, and in fact, John Brennan's piece in the New York Times last week had no evidence that the president somehow, his election was due to Russian collusion, and yet he persists in this line of attack in much the same way, in exactly the same way as Joseph McCarthy in the 50s said, "I have a list of communists in the government."
Mary?
Well, we know how that ended for Joseph McCarthy, not very well.
Yes, ma'am.
The fact is, the closer that Mueller gets to Trump, the more Trump lashes out. We've seen it time and again throughout the course of this investigation, whether it was the Manafort trial, whether it was the Michael Cohen raid, whether it's his son being in trouble for the Trump Tower meeting. And now Donald Trump finds out that his counsel, Donald McGahn, has spent 30 hours with Mueller.
He allowed it.
Right.
Even if he did, I don't think it's pretty clear that no one in the White House knows what McGahn shared with Mueller. So he's lashing out as a result, and in an effort to try to shape the court of public opinion, because I think he fears very much what's going to happen in the court of the law court. Right?
Marianne, we do know that Don McGahn said there was no evidence that the president exceeded his legal authority. I mean,
there's a lot between A and B there.
Well, but if you consider the fact that the president is not in the least bit seemingly perturbed about the fact that Don McGahn spoke with Mueller, in fact, or with that team. In fact, he said, "I authorized it." We've heard, you know, there's a lot of ways in which the Mueller investigation has leaked what they want to say adversely about the president in various ways, and yet there's really nothing of substance that's come out of any of this.
Well, you know, it's interesting. Brit Hume, and I don't know if we have his tweet, I follow him on Twitter, our senior contributor for politics and leadership here at Fox, tweeted out that he thought that it was ridiculous, that there it is, this is ridiculous, talking about, and you don't see the Twitter thread, but it captured the president then tweeting about comparing what's happening to McCarthyism. Nan?
You know, we all know that the president likes to be vivid, and his frustration is understandable. And you know, Harris, you know, Marianne, no less a figure than Alan Dershowitz, who is, you know, no fan of the president's politics, I'm sure, has said that this investigation, with its seemingly infinite remit, is excessive and should, frankly, never have been pursued in the first place.
So one thing I brought up with Brett Baier, just to wrap this up, Mary, it was the opportunity, if you will, the people in the president's constellation, if you sit with them for 20, 30 hours, it's harder than to make the discussion or make the argument that the special counsel must sit with the president, because clearly perhaps other people have information that they would put on that pressure point.
I think there are 2 points here. The first and foremost is we learned today that Don McGahn felt he was being set up by lawyers in the White House, which is why he cooperated and said as much as he did. I don't think anybody knows what Don McGahn said, and I think a fair amount of it was not favorable to Trump, number one. Number two, it is clear Trump is stalling not to do a sit-down with Mueller until he gets Kavanaugh on the Supreme Court because Mueller will take that subpoena.
Go. I don't think we know what you just said, because politically the president has said that he would sit down with Mueller, but he's going to listen to his attorneys.
Well, we'll see.
Please stay right here. We're coming right back. The Democrats finally meeting with the Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh, whom Mary just brought up, and appealing to him directly for more documents. Is this how you do it, or pure politics? Power panel stays.